Can you do that noise? Yeah, yeah. Now do like a scary dog growl.
Grr.
Ooh, that's a little too scary. I was thinking something like, but yours is pretty scary too. Rar.
Oh my goodness.
Hey,
What are we gonna do? What are we doing? You're hosting. Come on, man.
that's why I opened it up this way. That's obvious. Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about the issues, whatever issues are in your life, whatever you're going through. Not our issues. Of course, we probably share the same issues that you do. That's a lot of times why it's awesome to go through these, because we get a reminder of how to solve them ourselves. A time to break away and be like, yeah, I got that problem. Let's talk about this. Let's figure it out. But yeah, anyways, we're here to be a friend. We aren't professional psychologists or psychiatrists or anything of that nature, but we have lived a life, each of us, and gone through many mistakes and trials and successes to find out, hopefully for you guys, the better way to go through some things. So,
Hopefully.
and also that living our lives as we've figured out, for a lot of times there's not a whole lot of reason to worry. Things seem to work out when you kind of calm down, you figure it out, and you just go through the motions. So we're here to give you a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of calmness, and pat on the back for being an awesome person. You guys rock. I'm so happy to see you all here, and sorry that I missed last week. But it was really cool. It was really, really cool to have Steve here. Hey, Steve Nichols, I see you're in the chat. Yeah, I'm really sad if he's alter ego from another dimension. That is absolutely maybe. So
That's absolutely.
hey brother, how's it going, man? So yeah, it's great to be back here. I missed you guys, and I'm happy to be back to 100%. But yeah, how you guys doing tonight? How you
I'm
doing,
great.
Joe?
I'm great. You look great.
Along with us today, it looks like we've got Princess with us, dropping the info and recording all your guys' issues down for us. She's really helping out a lot behind the scenes with that. And then we've also got Jesse, who's producing the show. He's writing that stuff up in the corner, whatever corner. I don't know which way I should. In the corner of the screen.
Right there.
Is it? That's the chat. But anyways, yeah, no, you have to go. No, Joe, you're a little bit too low. You have to come up here where I am at. Up here in this space. Just put your hand up. Oh, that's his hand. Oh, there it is. Look at that. No, Joe, don't. Okay, anyways. Yeah, don't pick my nose. It's not healthy.
No.
For your finger.
Social distancing. What are you doing right there?
Yeah, geez,
You're too close.
Let me scoot over to this side. You can scoot over to the other corner.
Oh, that's the wrong way.
All right. Social distancing. Anyways, cool. It's great to see you guys. We love you guys. And you know what? Hey, what do you say we just jump right into it, huh?
Yeah, man.
Let's do this.
Why not?
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go through a list of names here that I've got. And if you're here, feel free to drop a yo, what's up with your mom and dad in the chat. And we will hopefully read yours off. We got a list to go through, and hopefully you guys are here. So here's our backlog. Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Mark Anthony, Jehoshaphat's, Lux, Wandering Soul, and Sparrow. People from England say Sparrow instead, which is interesting.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Sparrow. As you see that Sparrow over there? He's got a big crown on his head. He's probably not a sparrow. He's probably
a white crown sparrow.
It's a white crown sparrow, yeah. They can hold a coconut too. Okay, anyways, my accent changes. Every time I try to do an accent, it slowly changes from like shifts from one thing to another. And ultimately I always end up in a Russian accent in the end. Um,
It's
so don't
true.
ask me to do accents, but it's true. Joe knows
It's
firsthand. It's
true.
actually true. Um, in the end, it always
What are
ends up
you
Russian for me.
speaking? I'm speaking a British accent. No, it's not. It's Russian.
That's
Uh,
me. It's this is a accent you've never heard before. You're
no.
welcome. Now that you've experienced this, it's slowly gonna turn Russian because that's what's how it goes. Anyways, that wasn't even Russian, so
That wasn't. That was something else. That was
that
an
was
in-betweener. That
that
was
was
a
an
tweener.
in-betweener. That's okay. So we've got with us, it looks like Wandering Soul to be sure, and Sparrow or Sparrow. So since Wandering Soul comes first on this list, and I know he was here last time. I mean, and he mentioned that this might be the last time he comes to these streams. So why don't we open up with one of his?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
Wandering Soul posted this one. Feel free to click the link in the chat once Princess brings it up for us. Thank you, by the way. You're awesome, Princess.
I'm gonna put it in there. I'm gonna put
Hey,
it in there.
Larry,
I'm gonna
what's
get
up,
it.
man?
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Uh-oh.
Ah.
Oh, she got it.
Yep.
But you did too. Hey, good job.
So close. Good.
It takes two hands to clap. I don't know how that's relevant. Now don't do that with your entire bodies because that hurts the body slam. Not healthy for you either. Social distancing.
Social
Again.
distancing. No high fives.
No high
Nothing
fives,
like
no
that.
body slams. All right. So this is from Wandering Soul. The topic is titled Once More, but Only Once. And if you guys are ready, we'll read through it. Okay, it reads as follows. Hello, everyone. It's been some time, hasn't it? I hope you all have been doing well and staying safe. This will be my last topic. I've already left the BSS Discord and will likely not return. I found I cannot engage in your community anymore without feeling some degree of emotional pain, and so I will take my leave. But I do have one last thing to discuss. One last swan song of a topic. That being, what do you do once all is lost? I no longer have friends. The ones I used to have don't talk to me. Even conversations with my best friend don't last longer than 5 minutes and are 99% of the time started by me. I'm finally coming to terms with the very first piece of advice you gave me, Ryan, that sometimes you need to let people go. And I'm not going to break my back carrying friendships any longer. If they want to go, they should go. I'm not going to cry over their absence any longer. It's a dreadful, bittersweet humor that I know that even a small hello every once in a while would make me feel better, as pathetic as that sounds. But even that can't be provided. I'm living day to day at best, and sometimes even I can't convince myself that it's for anything worthwhile. While spending time with my family has been great, not being able to work and not being paid for babysitting my little sister to which they now rely on me to do is jeopardizing me returning to college in the fall. Oddly enough, I find a small part of myself wishing this virus to continue through autumn. It would allow me to not have to pay for room and board, allowing me to return much easier. Despite this, I also know that staying home has been the best thing for my mental health, even with its isolation. I cannot win either op- Okay, I cannot win with either option before me, and neither are the lesser of two evils. I chose this name, Wandering Soul, because for the longest time I knew my soul was wandering, looking for purpose, looking for love, always looking, never finding. And for the first time in my life, I'm stopping. My soul shall wander no more. I'm done desiring things that never come. I'm tired of looking for a purpose I'm not meant to have. When I lost control those many months ago, I saw what it was like to not care about those things. And it felt good. It felt free. What does one do when they have nothing left? Do they cast aside their wants and needs, their very soul, in exchange for freedom, as I have? Or do they fight on for their ideals until their soul is crushed? Both sound like empty pursuits, and neither are the greater of two goods. End post. Um, Thank you, Wandering Soul. I love your poeticism. I know that you're a writer, which is fantastic. Um, and it's good to see. Well, first, it's good to see you. I appreciate this post, even if this is your last time interacting with the community or whatever. It's all good. We honestly, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, only wish the very best for your entire life. We don't care if you come back time and time again, or if you only come this once and leave forever. It doesn't matter because what we actually desire is just the absolute best life for you. And hopefully we can spend some time today talking about that sort of thing. We can discuss where you go from here. What do you go when you've got nothing left? Um, you or when you feel like there's nothing left more to do or more that you want. Um, or when you don't even have any feeling at all, right? When there's just nothing. But yet there's that freedom of having nothing, and I think that that's an important thing too. Um, I this is a great topic, and one more thing to add is this is a really great topic because it's also one that we really haven't discussed before on a couple of different levels. So um, it's cool to have you here, and um, uh, we hope to do our very best to bless you and all that you do in the future. Um, so yeah, you rock, man. It was really great to have you here when you were. Um, so with that said, um, I'm sure Joe has some experience in dealing with these type of scenarios, um, perhaps more than once. So I'm gonna give it away to Joe and see what he's got to give.
I have felt this way even recently. Wandering Soul, your second to last paragraph. I'm drawn to that. I just want to repeat it. I chose this name, Wandering Soul, because for the longest time I knew my soul was wandering, looking for purpose, looking for love, always looking and never finding. And for the first time in my life, I'm stopping. My soul shall wander no more. I'm done desiring things that never come. I'm tired of looking for a purpose I'm not meant to have. When I lost control those many months ago, I saw what it was like to not care about those things, and it felt good. I felt free. I love that
Me too.
because truly, there have been times in my life, a couple years ago, I would have probably said something like, well, you just pick yourself up and you try again. You pick yourself up and you try again. And there is some truth to that, right? But there's also the moment that you're in right now. It's a beautiful moment. It's a moment of resignation. It's a moment of letting go, like you were talking about. It's a moment where you increase your level of freedom from the world. And that's a beautiful thing. If you don't mind reminding me what kind of your religious stance is, that would be awesome. Because some of I want to make sure I gear this properly. So if you wouldn't mind posting that in the chat, that'd be great. Um, but I know for a fact that what you're going through, um, yeah, okay, you're Lutheran. All right. It's always good to try and pick yourself back up, but I'm tired of getting back up only to make no progress. Absolutely. So here's the thing. Like I've for years now, I've had different goals. I've had a few different ones that I've been just working and working and working at and trying as hard as I can and just like trying to find different ways to do things, and just like the goals were always like these top, priorities, and I'm like, okay, some in my personal life, some in my business life, so, all kinds of different things, right? And I just like pounding my head against the wall working to try and fix these things, and discovering that it was not doing any good. Like nothing was changing. I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying because I'm seeking these goals, and I kept getting frustrated. And um I'm gonna probably have to look this quote up because I'm gonna butcher it. But there's a book that was written in the 1400s called "The Imitation of Christ" by Thomas A Kempis. And there in that there's a dialogue between God and a disciple,
It's a great book, by the way. I have it,
it
and
is
it's a wonderful read, and
fantastic,
it's not hard to read either.
fantastic. It's beautifully written, absolutely
Mhm.
beautifully written, and um, and but anyway, I'll have to look that up. So after I get done talking, I'll look it up so I can actually say it. But you have to remind me of the quote, Ryan. But at any rate, I remember getting to that point where I felt exactly like that. Oh yeah, I'd rather just stay down here, watch the clouds instead. Yeah, absolutely. Because what you start to do when you get to that point where you try so hard and you're just tired, and you're tired of, you know, trying for something that seems like it's never going to materialize. This is what happened to me. Okay. I basically, in my mind, said, in kind of a prayerful way, I'm like, should I even keep trying for these? Should I stay focused on this and think that I'm going to get there? Or should I just expect that, I'm going to never get there and I'm just going to continue trying and failing, you know? And I remember getting to that point, and I remember being like, okay, well, fine. I'm not going to shoot for these things anymore. I'm going to work because it glorifies God. I mean, it would be great if some of these blessings came into my life, some of the things that I was shooting for, right? Absolutely. But you start to realize there's, I've talked about the St. Anthony of Padua prayer, be satisfied with me. That's a really good one. Princess always finds a link for that one. She's so good. But that was a really helpful one, for me, because it taught me that the things I was looking for success in my area. Thank you, Princess. Um, Looking for, you know, relationship issues to be mended, looking for all kinds of these things that I was trying to fix on my own. I realized in pursuing those, I was really just stressing myself out. And part of it was maybe I wasn't being patient. So results were being withheld from me because I wasn't being patient enough, possibly. But I think that be satisfied with me prayer says a lot, because what it was is I was seeking things that I thought I could provide for myself, instead of realizing that everything we get in this life is a gift. It's truly a gift. We work because work makes us, it helps us feel better. Working, helps us feel alive and active, and it helps us be productive and stuff like that, right? And it's okay to pursue goals, and it's okay to work towards those goals. But when we're constantly frustrated because we're not achieving those goals, and we have the negative feelings about it because of that, what we've done is we've thought that somehow we are the ones that are in control. Now, we're in control of our efforts, yes. We're in control of what we do on a day-to-day basis, but we are not in control of when and if certain results find their way to us. All kinds of things can happen, man. You can ask anybody who owns a business right now in this day and age in the pandemic. So many businesses are closing. So many businesses are failing because and it's not their fault. They did everything right to build a great company. A lot of restaurants are going through this right now because people just can't go, but no fault of their own. They didn't do anything wrong. Nothing in how they did business changed. It's just they had to stop doing business because there's a pandemic. That was not up to them. The fact that I met Ryan, that wasn't up to me. That was Providence. The fact that now we're working together on a mission with the community here at Black Static and Swerve to create an environment where people can feel comfortable just being themselves. That's really what we're all about. We just want to be here for you guys and help in any way we can, and provide a place where you guys can feel comfortable and where you guys can feel at home and like you can be yourselves. It's a wonderful thought. But we work hard at that, and we understand, results are going to come when they come, and whatever results come, they're going to be what they are. It's not up to us. Our job is to put forth the effort, and that is rewarding in and of itself, because when I have a list of things that I have to accomplish and I accomplish them, it feels really, really good. But none of those things were like, hey, get a certain result. It was all like, hey, finish something or do something or accomplish a task, right? It wasn't like, make sure we have this amount of numbers coming to every show, make sure we have this amount of streams on whatever platform or whatever, right? So it's like, that's not it. Those are not up to us. In a way, like when I read your post, oh, okay, you've updated. My best has got me knocked on my rear more times than I can count. I'll get more apathetic, numb, not better. Okay. Ryan has some great thoughts on apathy, on productive apathy. And in a way, it can be a very constructive thing in your life to let go. And to understand, you know what? I had to come to grips with the fact that I said this prayer. I was like, God, if it's your will for me to just try and try and try and fail and fail and fail and never succeed, okay, that's fine. But I'm going to keep trying anyway, just because I choose to. It reminds me of Neo at the end of the third Matrix movie, where he's fighting Agent Smith, and everything. And Agent Smith is like, why do you persist? And he just looks at him real calmly and says, I choose to. He knows he's going to lose. He knows that the battle is lost. And through his loss, he also gains the victory, which is a pretty amazing twist at the end. Sorry, I hope I didn't spoil it for you. But
a good one.
The point of that is he chooses to continue, even though he knows he's not gonna succeed in that particular battle. But he chooses to continue. Or like Captain America in the Marvel movies, when he gets knocked down and he's like, I can do this all day, before he turns into Captain America. He's the little wiry guy, and and he's getting beat up by somebody, but he just keeps getting back up and keeps getting back up and keeps getting back up. And the guy that's beating him up is like, what in the heck? And he's like, I can do this all day. He's all like shaky. But Wandering Soul says, it's the loneliest path out there, casting aside our wants and needs. But hey, what else is new? Yeah, I understand. But you're right. To feel the freedom is beautiful. It's a wonderful thing to experience that freedom. And where you're like, you know what? I'm not bound by whatever I was chasing. I'm free of that. And now I get to choose my adventure. And the choice, the right choice to make is one that Ryan always talks about. To be happy is to choose a life of virtue, just for the sake that it's the right thing to do. And you realize what, as you practice virtue, your satisfaction level, your inner peace, all that stuff, it just kind of starts to go up, no matter what trials or hardships or anything that comes your way, because you're going to still have challenges come, for sure. You're going to have painful moments happen, and it's going to be sometimes it's going to feel like these are even harder circumstances than you ever went through before, but inside you're going to be at peace, and you're going to be okay with it. Hal Elrod says, I'm going to just wrap up with this. He says in the Miracle Equation, he said, the reason that we have stress is because we resist our reality. When something happens to us, when we have a result in our head, or when we have a result that's happening to us right now, and we get stressed about it, it's because we're resisting that. We're like, this shouldn't be this way. And so we get stressed and we get tense and we get frustrated and all this kind of stuff. He said, no, you cannot change where you are at, ever. You can only change where you're heading. And that depends a lot on how you're feeling and thinking. And so if you're resisting where you're at, you're setting yourself up to be in a bad position to move forward in the future, because you've got the stress and the pressure and and it's hard and it's painful, right? But when you stop resisting your current reality, you feel liberated. You feel like, hey, I have a choice of what I can do. I can choose whatever I want. What am I going to do here? And then you can be like Neo, and you can be like, you know what? I choose to try. I choose to try again. And then when I fail again, I can choose to accept that reality and be fine with it, and then make another choice from there. But hopefully that's helpful to start with. Ryan, take it away. I'm going to look up the
quote.
That quote.
I have to say, I loved that, Joe. Everything you said. Wandering Soul, I know that was your last time. If you were to do one thing before you left, go back and listen to what everything Joe just said, because there's so much in there that is so true. I feel like I have a lot to say, a lot I want to say on this, but at the same time, I don't want to take too much time, but also I don't want to overload what Joe already said, because what he said was so good. So here's some interesting things. Joe talked about letting go, right? And that giving you freedom, because then you're no longer resisting reality. It's funny to me when, I shouldn't say it's funny to me, rather I become, what's the word? Compassionate for people who do this. So when we're children, right, when we're like 2 years old and we don't get our way, we break down and get angry and cry and shout and all that kind of stuff. Throw a fit, throw a physical fit, rage around, fall on the floor, throw a tantrum, whatever. Right? We do that when we're like 2. We do that when we're 3, 4, 5. Eventually, our parents scold us enough for out doing that we stop, right? But somewhere we get older, we become impatient. We want things our way and we want them now. And when things aren't the way we want them, we break down, we get angry, we get stressed, we get sad, we get unmotivated, we get depressed, all just because things aren't exactly how we want them to be. And sometimes it's even with ourselves. Sometimes, like, this isn't who I wanted to be. And we throw a temper tantrum at ourselves, right? I don't mean to be mean, and I mean this with all compassion, but it's childish, right? That's what we did when we were a child. And we've grown up and we haven't fixed it yet if we're still getting angry when things aren't our way. So what Joe is talking about, when you have to accept, you just have to accept reality and say, this is how it is. I, there's no reason to get stressed out. It's just how it is. So what can we do from here? Now, there are like emergency moments. There are urgent moments. There are moments that call you to anger, and you can use that anger for good, right? There are moments that call you to excitement, and you can use that excitement for good. But to but when we refuse to accept the reality that's in front of us, like things are just not going in that direction, or that sort of thing, and we get upset at ourselves, it's I think it's so, like, when we figure out we don't have to do that, when we figure out that's not a good idea to do that, we feel liberated. We feel absolutely free because it's like, I'm no longer bound by myself. I can actually just accept things as they are. And when you accept things as they are, it's so much easier to go from there. Because if you are trying to live apart from reality and then say, this is what I want, how do I get there against all odds? Instead of going, okay, this is where we're actually at. Now, how do we navigate this? It's completely different, right? You say, exactly, that's what I've come to see, that chasing these stupid wants and needs is a pathetic endeavor. And now I don't have to care about anyone. Sure. Now, um, this is interesting too. You said here that the one thing I really want to talk about is this. You said looking for purpose, looking for love, always looking, never finding. This is interesting. We've talked on the show quite a bit about purpose, and I know that Joe just did a don't double cup of Joe, a whole weekly series on purpose, right?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Okay. So it's really interesting because there are people who go through their entire lives looking for purpose, and they're like, I just never found it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't get it. I want to sum up purpose in a way I don't think I've done before, and I really wish I had. And I think it kind of took this moment between you and I and Joe here, and everybody else to get to this. All right. When we talk about purpose, right? It's, what are we doing with our lives? What we want to look at our lives and we're like, my life was meant for greatness. I was designed to do something special in the world. What is that thing? Right? That's how we look at purpose. I would say, with caution, throw that idea away. Because you were built for one thing. And that one thing will always be your purpose. And that one thing will never cease to be your purpose, no matter what you do with your life. Wandering soul, do you know what that is? I'm sure you're Lutheran. You'll figure it out. If you haven't figured it out already. You were built for God. You were built to be with God. That is your purpose. That is your sole purpose. One thing that we say as Catholics is the purpose of this life that we live here on earth, the only way to make sense of it all is that the world we live in is a saint making machine. It makes saints. Another saint is basically just someone we have identified is with God, right? That's a simplified version. A saint is someone who is with God. All right. So this whole world is a saint making machine. In other words, your purpose in life is ordered to that. And if you look at it from that aspect, you realize you've become extremely free to do a lot of things. And your purpose is fulfilled the day you started to exist. And your purpose is further fulfilled the day you die. Right? So it's extremely religious look at this, right? And I said before, take this with caution, but my point is, if you look at your life from that angle, you start to realize it's futile to search for your purpose endlessly because your purpose already is fulfilled to a degree. And it's fulfilled also in everything that you do. Because you can either choose to do it with God or without God. You can either choose holy or you can choose evil, right? You can choose good or you can choose bad, right? And that's all up to you. To care for other people is a godly act because who cares for us most of all? God. So to care for people is important, right? To love others is important. Looking for love is not important, right? Does that make sense? Looking for love is not important. Looking for purpose, it has its good points. Like it is important, right? It is important. But if you are going through life and you're like, nothing is popping out to you, that doesn't mean you are a failed human by any means. On contrary, it means you just got to keep on doing whatever it is that you like, whatever, as long as you maintain a holy vigor, a holy focus, right? So once you look at that and you're like, I'm no longer bound to say, I have one objective with my entire life. No, my objective is now open to all things. What opportunities are there? Now I can freely look and choose between them. And I'm not going to worry about, is it going to be ordered to my purpose? Is it not? In all things, it is. All things are, because every choice we make is. That's why I've said before, it's more important to choose a path, a style of living, a lifestyle, a set of rules that you abide by and desires that you live for, to say my life is like my main thing, to pick a main thing and follow that path. And it's not necessarily have to be a purpose, right? Like I said, my main thing is to be a living example of God's love in the world, to be a shining light in that way, to reflect his light in the world, right? And as I live that out, that's all things become ordered to that. And then all things become my purpose. That is my main thing. So that's just a path I choose. It isn't necessarily for me writing music. It isn't necessarily for me to do this show. All those things work towards it, right? So if anyone was to come to me, what's your purpose in life? to come with an answer that's really direct and simple is, other than what I've just said, is impossible. To say like, oh, my purpose in life is to make like all these songs that people come to love, and after I die, people still love them. Like, I would not say that at all. That's not, you know, I think some people might think of that about me. They're like, oh yeah, Ryan's purpose in life, like it's so clear you can see it. Well, define it. Well, it's affecting people's lives. How? Um, well, he does music and he does the live streams, and he does like he talks to people and helps them out on an individual basis, and he like behind the scenes, he's trying, right? So if I spent too much time trying to find my purpose, I wouldn't find it. Purpose existed the whole time. I just have to order my life to it. And that is simply to be or not to be. The fullest of life is to be with God. So to be fully, let's do that. You know? Hopefully that doesn't cross too many people's lines with the religious talk. I obviously this it's a religious banter, but um I sincerely hope, Wandering Soul, that sends you on your way towards a life of many blessings for yourself, for God, and also all the people around you that you meet. Um, I don't really think I can. I mean, I had a lot to say, but I don't think there's anything more worth saying than that. So um, I'm going to give it back over to Joe while I read your comments, or maybe Joe's already read them for me. That'd be cool. But yeah, Joe, back to you.
That'd be cool. I've seen some of your comments. One that stuck out was up here above a little bit when you were saying it's hard to love people when no one loves you, not your family, not your friends, not God. And it's that was an interesting statement for me to read, because I just recently had an experience with one of my sons who was really upset with me. He he had to go to the hospital not too long ago, have blood tests and all this kind of stuff, right? So it was a really stressful time for us because he has this fever and he can't shake it, right? So we were like all concerned, and the doctor said we'll take him to the hospital, all this kind of stuff. So they had to do like every test known to man, stick swabs in every possible place they possibly could stick a swab, and like you know draw blood and everything. I'm out working doing inspections this whole time, right? And basically getting updates from my wife, and then they finally get done. He spent the whole day at the hospital, right? So he's already like he's tired and he's crabby and he's been through the ringer, and it's been a tough day. And he's 8, right? So I mean that's a tough day for an 8-year-old. But anyway, so so he calls me on the phone, and I'm out working, and well, my wife called me, and then put him on, and he's like, "Hey, I'm done," and all this kind of stuff, and blah 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 blah, and he's like, "So, do you want to play Moomoo.io with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to, except I'm out doing inspections, so I can't, because I'm like an hour away, and I'm not gonna be able to do that." And he's like, and he just like hung up on me. And then he called me back and he's like, "You're so mean. I can't forgive you. Blah, 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 blah." Right. And I'm
Where did they
like,
learn the line "I can't forgive you"? It's just like
I
that
know.
it's popped up multiple times now. Anyways,
I
go on.
know. I don't know. Movies, probably.
Yeah. I'll never forgive you.
But this was the interesting thing. From his perspective, I did not love him because I couldn't play Moomoo.io with him. Right. Now, that as we grow and mature, we reach different levels of noticing, okay, this is the way the world works, all this kind of stuff, right? So the question I would have is like, because I recognize this in myself too. Like I've gone through despairing moments where I thought I was not loved by anybody. I thought, nobody loves me, nobody cares. God must not even care, because all this stuff is happening in my life and it's crazy, right? But here's the thing, just like with my son, my perspective is not God's perspective. My perspective is not my family member's perspective. My perspective is mine. My 8-year-old's perspective was his. If he wants to eat food and have clothes and all that kind of stuff, I need to go work so I can make money in order to do that, right? I can't just drop everything and play Mumu.io. But that's a moment where it seems unloving to him. That's an unloving thing for me to do, to keep working. But in reality, it is a loving thing for us to take him to the hospital, put him through that whole day of all that crazy stuff. That could seem like really unloving. That's not what he wanted to do that day, right? But it was a very loving thing to do because it was in interest of his health overall, right? So I think about that for me. Like when I feel like God doesn't love me, I'm like, because I still go through that, right? I'm like, it's just empty or something, like I just don't feel that it's there. Nothing's going the way I want it to. And I'm like, well, wait a second. God has the perspective of the entire universe. He knows what's best for me and what's not. He knows better than I do what's best for me. So him withholding something, a certain type of thing that I want, or a certain condition that I want, or maybe a material thing that I want, or whatever, me not being able to get to that, I can understand that it's in my best interest, but I don't see the whole picture. Now, a lot of times later on in life, I do see a bigger picture and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I didn't get that when I wanted it, because I don't know, really messed up a whole bunch of stuff. I was not ready for that yet. Or the other people that I was dealing with, they weren't ready for that yet. It's not just you. It could be the people around you. There's all kinds of stuff. Maybe the conditions just aren't ready yet. And that's okay. But here's the quote. I found the quote from The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. Oh, there's a little bit more. Sorry. The hour will come when blood, sweat, and tears will be no more. All that passes away with time is of little importance, and it passes away quickly. Whatever you do, do it well. Work faithfully in my vineyard, and I shall be your reward. Write, read, sing, mourn, keep silent, pray, bear adversity with courage. Eternal life is worth all these battles and more. Peace will come on a day that is known only to the Lord, and it will not be a day or night such as we know now, but it will be everlasting light, infinite brightness, steadfast peace, and secure rest. And when I read that for the first time, the sentence that really made the difference to me was like, whatever you do, do it well. Work faithfully in my vineyard, and I will be your reward. This is God talking to the disciple, right? Where it's like that takes so much of the pressure off. When I read that, it took all the pressure off. I don't have to try hard for a specific result. I have to work for the sake that I'm doing this as a service to God's people. And my reward is going to be a greater reward than anything I could ever have on earth. My reward is going to be God. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So again, like Ryan said, I'm very, very sorry if any of this religious talk is striking a bad chord with people. But I think it's important in this sense with this topic here. Because really, wherever you go, wandering soul, I mean, yeah, if we don't see you for a long time, I'm going to tell you right now, you can rest assured that we love you. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you haven't done. It doesn't matter, what, none of that matters. You're here. You're a human being. You are full of infinite amounts of dignity. Infinite. You are an anomaly. There has never been anyone like you before, and never will there ever be anyone like you again. You have a specific makeup of gifts and talents and hopes and aspirations and moods and everything. Like all that is uniquely you, and it makes up who you are, and that is beautiful. The good and the bad. Like we talked about on Monday, the yin and the yang. We are infected by both light and darkness, by both good and evil. We have that playing out within us, all of us. And inside is a beautiful creation. And we love you here just because of the fact that you exist. Because you didn't do anything to earn that love. You are, so you are loved. And that's not going to stop. That goes for everybody in this community. We love you guys simply because you exist. And, we pray for you guys all the time. I know because I lead the prayers a lot of the times, and we pray for you guys all the time, like every show, because you mean a lot to us. It means a lot that you guys are here. So if you go on whatever journey you go on, our love's going to follow you. There's no escape. But, I'd love to see you again, and hopefully sooner than later, because it truly is a blessing to have you around. And that's about all I got. So Ryan,
Yeah.
take it.
I think that we did good on the topic. Obviously we talked a little while. And I hope this is all right for you, Wandering Soul. One of the things that you kind of said more recently was, you said, "I know I'm an idiot. I'm a blind, dumb fool. I know that my heart is blind to people's love.
Me too.
Um, I've tried my hardest and I don't feel it. I'm gonna leave you with this quote that I kind of just made up. But
I can quote Ryan later.
yeah, well, I'm gonna leave you with something, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing. All right. But I hope you understand what I mean by this. It's okay. It's good. It's even best that you are a blind, dumb fool. Because you must go where you have not gone to get what you do not have. And sometimes you might go where you cannot see to acquire what cannot be seen. Okay? There are things in life that are just like that. And replay that again if it didn't make sense.
I'm gonna
Because
replay it again.
that goes deep. It goes a couple layers deep.
Yeah.
Beyond first listen.
There's a
And I
richness
meant
in
it to.
that.
So feel free to re-listen to this whole section as many times as you like, and I hope that you do at least once before you take your final bow and leave us until a later day. But Wandering Soul, we love you. You're awesome, and we hope to see you again. But regardless, more so, we hope you have a fantastic, cherished life that you enjoy and that God enjoys with you. So that's it for that topic. You don't have to leave. You can stick around. You can stick around for the next topic. But we are ending the topic here. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to know you.
Pleasure. Absolutely. Yeah. It was really great to have you. So, Sparrow, are you still here? That'd be awesome
Jehoshaphat
if
is
you were.
here.
Oh, Jehoshaphat's here. You're right, Jeho. All right. You know what? With that being said, I think we're gonna do Jehoshaphat's first because his was posted on May 6th.
Hmm.
Um, and it is now May 13th.
Yeah.
So I think this makes sense. Um, yeah, you
Ooh,
finished chapter 2 of
cool.
okay.
Did you
Well,
post it? I read chapter 1. It was good.
yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, we aren't going to do yours right away. We are going to do Jehoshaphat's first because his was posted first a while back, and I think while we've got him here, it'd be good to do it. I know he doesn't have a whole lot of time either, but yeah, cool. Jeho, you good for this? You still around? I'll wait for your response. I don't
He's
want to. I don't want
he's
to.
just right there. He's just there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He did post not too long ago, actually.
He was
You're
just
right.
there, man. I was just there. I saw him. He's the chairman. There he is.
They said sure. Awesome. Thanks, Jeho. Oh, man, you rock. So from Jeho, the title is Talking About Mental Health Tools. It reads as follows. This is more of a request than a personal topic, but if y'all could talk on mental health and maybe some resources that people can use, general advice is also recommended.
Hmm.
Things like talking to a trusted individual and workouts and wonders of sunlight and chocolate. Ways to reduce stress, sleep, and maintaining hygiene can also help. Honestly, I'm spitballing ideas here. All right. So that was it, by the way. So you want us to talk about a little bit about mental health, ways to keep mental health, maybe through the coronavirus and things like this. This is for you. Not really. This is for you, but it's also for everybody else. This is not like a super direct. This is where I'm struggling in this area, but more of a hey, could you cover a ground, a basis of just different things that work towards mental health, and perhaps even um, the motivation to desire mental health and their and such things might be good too. But yeah, it's an interesting topic, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it. So, Joe, Joe has a lot of wisdom and mental health. He's got a lot more experience than I do. So I'm gonna give it to him. Well, he's 19, so
I am, which is way more than you
I'm
you're as old as you look. So like what, 12
yeah,
and a
I'm
half?
like yeah, thanks.
And a half.
Absolutely. I think you're right. If I put this hat on, yeah. Hey guys.
10 and a half.
Oh wait, if I pull back my hair,
9 and a half.
yeah, I'm 9. Hey guys, I'm 9.5 years old. Here to do a I mean,
Hi guys, I'm 9.5 years old. Here to do a Don't Worry Wednesday. That voice is getting really high.
okay, anyways. I don't know who that guy is, but let's not talk to him.
Yeah, if you want
9-year-old
better mental
Ryan was
health,
not very smart.
you want better mental health, just look at that.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Actually, smiling, having fun, making yourself silly is mental health.
It is. It can be helpful.
Uh-huh. Anyways,
Yeah.
humility.
Did you just say humility?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. This is a great topic because especially right now when everybody, a lot of times people are going stir crazy, they need something to do, who knows what it is, right? But I don't know, plus hanging around stressed out people is hard too. Like, and I don't know. I would say, you know what? Actually, you guys all know what I'm going to say. One of the best keys to better mental health is improving your physical health.
Let's not joke around. You know what I'm going to say.
You knew that.
Yeah.
Like doing some kind of exercise is outstanding for your mental health. It helps you to fix a whole lot of stuff going on in your mind. You feel better about life. You feel better about yourself. You feel better about it, even though your muscles hurt really bad because they're really sore because you just like, you know, nailed yourself, right? And like, so I talked about this on Monday. Ryan wasn't here. So, but actually he was here listening.
I didn't catch
I took,
the first half actually, though. No,
you
the
didn't?
first quarter,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
So I've been on an exercise regimen now for the entire year since New Year's. I usually go in 8-week increments, right? And then take a week off and then another 8 weeks and then take a week off. Well, I had gone like 4 months, right? So I had gone like twice as long. And so finally I took a week off and it's Easter season. So it's time for feasting, right? So I feasted heavily on all kinds of foods and took a week off of exercise and I gained 10 pounds. Yeah, it was awesome. So now I'm back in the swing of things, right? Now I'm working out again, right? It's so I did my first 2 days of working out Monday and Tuesday, and I hurt so bad today. I'm like, but it's a good kind of pain, and I feel like I accomplished something, and it's great. Like I tell you, 1 week is about as long as I can go before the brain fog starts to creep in a little bit. I'm like, and I start to kind of gravitate toward like laziness and stuff like that. I start to kind of, just kind of stuff starts to slip. But then once I get back on track, everything tightens up a little bit more. And it was really, really cool to tighten those reins again this week. But that's one way that I've found my mental health improves so much is that through exercise. And I have to do strenuous exercise now, like push-ups and different weight training stuff and stuff like that. Now, always consult a physician before starting any exercise program. You probably shouldn't ever start exercising because it'll probably kill you. There's my medical disclaimer. But it's good for your mental health.
Sorry, I had this tangent. I had a cop tell me when I was like still in high school, he told me he was going to take me out of school because we got into an argument. He was actually swearing at me and stuff. I was just like, what the heck? So my friend got into like a small car crash. But anyways, one of the things he told me was we could have died. We were going 5 miles an hour. He's like, you could have died. And I was like, we were not going that fast. And he's like, look, I've seen a lady lady trips in the bathroom and dies. She trips and falls on the ground and dies. Like, it happens. Our bodies are extremely fragile. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I guess I won't take baths anymore. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, anyways, I didn't say that to him, obviously. I was respectful and I was just like, okay, you're crazy. Sorry. So that's just kind of what I was thinking about when you were like, yeah, you're not allowed to do workouts because it's bad for you and you might die. I'm like, wow.
Yes, exactly. Always consult a doctor before starting any exercise. You should probably not exercise because you will die anyways.
Because you will die anyways. Oh, jeez.
Before taking a leg rip, please consult your doctor if you feel your leg rip. Yeah, that's hilarious, right? there's our disclaimers. So anyway, but if you're hurt Birkin, you can die just running across the street if the walk light isn't on.
If the green man isn't on the scene.
If the green man isn't on there. So there is that too. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. Jesse's probably laughing hysterically in the background somewhere. But at any rate, that's one of the best stress reducers I've found in my life is exercise. Another is the 3-step process we do at a Double Cup of Joe show. I think about what I'm thankful for. I think about what I'm looking forward to. And I think about what kind of action I'm going to take today to move forward, right? Just those 3 simple steps. because now it brings positivity into the past. It put with what am I thankful for? It brings positivity into the future with what I'm looking forward to. And then it brings it down to the present where I'm actually going to make my dreams real. This is funny, isn't it, Ryan?
Trying so hard not to laugh at J-Ho right now. At first I was reading it wrong and then I had to stop myself and start over and then that made me laugh. So anyways,
like, man, I was saying something really profound too.
yeah, we
you
were,
just
and
over
I'm
there
so
started
sorry.
laughing.
The chat is started to just kind of go, I'm sorry. It's
fine.
your guys' fault.
Totally fine.
You're all sinners and I'm holy and everything is
What? You're a
I'm
sinner too.
okay, yeah, I'm kidding, guys, obviously.
Yep.
Go for it.
Now, I'm
Sorry
not going
to
to talk much
disrupt you.
about sleep
Because I don't practice that.
because I don't usually get too much of that. And that's okay. I've learned to live on less than optimal amounts of sleep, and it's weird. Like now, I just wake up. Like I don't even have to try to wake up. I just get up. Maintaining hygiene, yes. I would recommend shaving your head. Especially Ryan.
Yeah. It makes things easier.
Yes. Oh, Hyrule. That's such a great song. It's the Dreadnoughts. Sleep is for the weak. But anyway, it is a good idea to get sleep. Don't get me wrong. And usually if I get, if I sleep 4.5 hours in a night or whatever, that day I will usually take a nap sometime in the day, for like a half hour or something like that, just to kind of rejuvenate a little bit throughout the day. But yeah, I think those are some great strides to mental health. Another thing is to avoid media that makes you feel like fearful. Anything that makes you feel fear or entitlement. Some of these things are dangerous. And so be mindful of what kind of feelings you have while you're consuming media. What you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're reading, all of these things, right? They will have an impact on your mind. And if you have if what you're watching or listening to or reading is making you angry or fearful or feel like you deserve something and you're just not getting it, and people just deserve to give you this stuff to you, you start to have that kind of entitlement mentality. Those things are things to watch out for as you're watching or listening or whatever. Personally, I steer clear of mainstream news as much as I possibly can. I can't help but avoid it. It's on at different places I'm at, and so sometimes I just can't avoid, hearing a little bit here and there. But I just can't take a whole lot of it because it's just I feel like I've got gunk on me after I listen to the news reporter long enough. I'm just like, I gotta like scrape it off with.
I need to go take a shower after that
Yeah,
one.
it's like, ugh, like I feel like I got covered in snot buckets or something. Like it's gross. But at any rate, so listen to media that's uplifting. Listen to stuff that's actually going to help you feel empowered to go do something great. And I understand. You can't change your current reality, like we talked about before. But you can change your trajectory, where you're heading. That's one thing you have control of. Like basically what's happening to you now is the result of the trajectory that you've been on and other things outside of your control. Like we talked about before, if you owned a restaurant and all of a sudden the coronavirus hit and you had to close your restaurant, like a bunch of stuff outside your control happened. But mentally, you can maintain a good trajectory and say, okay, I'm going to adapt. Whatever's going on right now, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to let go of the way things were, and I'm going to embrace the way things are and the direction that we're going, because the world has changed forever now. I'm sorry if this is the first time you're hearing this, but we live in a new world. And I don't think there's any going back to the way things were before. But it's exciting because anytime a major shift happens like this, the playing field gets leveled and everybody has opportunity. Whoever figures out and embraces the new rules is going to win. And there's lots of room for people to win. Lots of people are going to win. Not just one person. It's going to be lots of people. And I'm super excited for the future. I'm more excited now for the future than I ever have been before. Ryan and I have talked a bunch of times about this. You know, this is a great time to be alive. It's scary, but I think as long as you take the general precautions that are out there, you're going to be just fine. And as long as you embrace the new way the world is going to work, man, you have a great shot at doing some pretty awesome stuff. So that's it. Ryan, what do you got?
Not a whole lot because you just spoke before I did. So jerk. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Joe. You said a couple of things I wasn't even thinking about, so I think that was awesome. And yeah, you know, one thing that stood out to me: wonders of sunlight and chocolate. Yeah, sunlight, definitely get some of that. All things in moderation. Chocolate, same thing. I'm gonna tell you guys something that'll help your mental health. None of you are gonna follow it. If any of you do, you'll thank me a lot, but you're not going to. And it's this: severely limit your indulgences to a few basic things to intensify the joys in life. See, a lot of times we live our life and we're like, hey, I want to be happy, so let's do these things. These make me happy. You know, let me do this. It makes me feel good. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go do that. That makes me feel good. So I'm going to go do it. This is fun. I'm going to do that fun thing. This is, yeah, sweet. I'm going to go do that fun thing. And then after that, I'm going to do some homework and I'm going to do that fun thing. You know, get rid of it all. Pick a few things. What you're going to find out is that you can celebrate those few things so hard and they'll bring you so much more joy and just like honest, like longer lasting joy than you would find in doing all of those fun things. And you won't understand until you try it. But
You see that?
here's the what?
Y'all ever just appreciate breakfast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
As a matter of fact.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When you do a fast where you don't eat anything, literally anything, for several days in a row, and then it's breakfast, and you're like, I can have this.
I'm like,
Eat this.
man, my
I'm gonna
scoop full
eat
of
this.
peanut butter is gonna be so
I'm gonna
good.
excited for this for like 3 days straight. I'm gonna eat this so hard. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna savor every single bite. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna eat a Dorito.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna eat a Dorito. I'm gonna eat it with my friends. We're gonna just have a great old time. And they won't know what's going on, but the joy inside me is gonna be, I'm gonna be freaking out eating these Doritos, and they're not even gonna know. I'm just gonna be exploding inside. No, here's the thing. When you spend all your energy on fun and just things that make you experience pleasure, like even if you're not even having that much fun anymore, you're still kind of enjoying yourself relatively. You're like, I don't know, it's better than doing nothing. I'm bored, but that's why I'm playing this game, or that's why I'm raking the yard. I like raking. It's my thing. Not my thing. Someone out there.
Yeah,
It's
somebody's
weird.
thing.
Somebody
Somebody
weirdo.
really
No,
likes
okay.
raking.
I appreciate all things in life, but even people who like raking.
You're digging yourself You like digging holes for yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I do. I'm digging that hole on purpose. I just want it to be awkward because that's my joy. My joy is finding the awkwardness and being the one that looks bad. But anyways, when you spend a lot of time in that area, you take away all possibility to intensify any of it. You can't sit there and just truly enjoy that moment. You can't fully engage in that moment because you're already spent. You're already spent.
Hmm.
You could take all that stuff away for a little while. Start working on the things that do promote mental health, right? Like everything Joe was talking about, that's all good stuff. It's good to reward yourself. It's good to have pleasure. It's good to enjoy yourself. Okay. But if you simplify it to a few things, all right, when you engage those things, you're going to have a way about you that allows you to focus on something and reap the joy out of it. Just soak it more than this you thought was even there. You're just going to get into it. You're going to dive into it. And you're like, oh, there's so much here. It's a feast. Oh, I'm loving it. Oh, it doesn't have to be food, but I'm just like talking like this, like it's a game or it's something else that you really like to do. Like, man, this deep fried chicken is so good. Like, you're not eating deep fried chicken. You're playing a game. I was like, oh, there's bacon in it. It's so good. It's like sunlight on my skin. Oh, like, dude, you're weird. You're freaking me out. Like, I'm having more fun right now than you'll ever have in a lifetime if you spread out all of your joys across all sorts of different platforms, trying not to be bored. Go forth and be bored. That's part of mental health. Part of what sparks the creativity inside your brain and creates fun out of nothing is boredom. Because boredom feeds the mind and gives it the space, the empty space it needs to work in. Because if you fill it with all this stuff, it's got no space. It's constantly thinking about all these things, and it's not ever having time to just kind of sort out, get it out of the way, create a new empty space, and be like, hey, what do I want to put in this empty space? Ooh, that's a nice looking chair. Let's go sit on it. What's it like? Oh, it's white. It's white, but what's it made out of? It's made out of like purely squishmallow, like this. And it's big. And you sit down and you just like, and it sucks you in. You're like, whoa, I don't even know if I can get out of this thing. You know? And so then a helicopter flies by and you just kind of like grab onto the rings and you just pull yourself up out on a helicopter, on the leg of a helicopter. I don't know why, but that's what you decide to do, you know? And then you get out of it and the whole couch just goes and flies away. The whole space is empty, nothing but you and that helicopter. All right, what am I talking about? Right? I'm talking about fun. I'm talking about imagination, right? You're not going to have any better mental health than having an imaginative mind. And if you keep on filling it with all this fun stuff, your ability to imagine fun is going to get drained right out of you. So I know you asked for like a list of things and like generic, that was kind of generic, but that's my like mental health in the concept of self-enjoyment is incredibly important. So take this advice, and no one's going to do it. And I hope someone does.
Somebody's going to.
Y'all aren't. I know you're not. All right, seriously, I'm listening to that because I hope you're like, I'm going to prove that guy wrong. And then I'll be like, yeah, I hoped you would. But anyways, I want to give it back over to Joe. Thanks, guys. You're all awesome.
You didn't talk nearly long enough yet.
Words, phrases. Speaking of phrases, speaking. And there you go. Is that long enough?
No.
Darn it.
You have to say business, numbers.
But that's copyright. I'll get in trouble, Joe. I'll get in trouble if I say that.
I just said it. Am I going to get in trouble? No, they're not going to get me in trouble. Because I would have said, hey, what movie is that from? Ryan knows what movie is that from.
Yeah, that's the Lego movie.
You're not supposed to say it.
No, it's fine. It's copyright until you say that you have to say it, or you
They're
can get
supposed to
fired.
say it.
Because otherwise, it's not advertisement.
How
It just
are we
makes
gonna
you
get
look like the
fired?
guy who created it and look smart.
How are we gonna get fired? You're fired.
It's the Dino Dude. It's the Dino Dude. 1973. That movie, the Dino Dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, falsely copyrighted. Please sue us. And
See, they're not paying
It is weird.
attention to us anyway. They're paying attention to the chat. See, nobody said the Lego movie in there. They're always just
Mhm.
talking about ramen, talking about the number 4 and stuff. So that's all
Yeah,
good.
perfect. I've inspired the relativity. I just made up a
Yes.
new word.
The relativity.
The relativity. The relativity.
The relativity. Yes. So at any rate,
Do you have anything else to follow up with?
mental health is a very good thing.
The Lego
You can
book?
preserve it. I love what Ryan was getting at about, denying yourself stuff. And I didn't want to point out one thing because Ryan, you're gonna love this.
Ah.
It's a Hal Elrod evening.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Think of the word savers. SAVERS. S stands for silence. That means meditation, prayer, something of that nature where you're clearing your mind and you're sitting in silence. Like Ryan was talking about boredom. A lot of times, most people, if they sat in silence and thought about nothing, they would be bored. But you're purposefully creating silence in your life. So you can, because that's a great time for you to reset and reboot and just let go of everything and get in touch with you inside. So silence, that's the first one. A, affirmations. Come up with some kind of an affirmation to say to yourself, and I would avoid saying things like, I'm a millionaire, if you're not a millionaire. But if you want to become one, you can say, I'm committed to learning what it takes to become a millionaire. I realize this information is out there and I can do that, right? So if that's the thing, you finish saying savers first, that's for silence. Yep. Silence. Affirmation. Visualization. Visualize what you want to accomplish. Visualize the type of life you want to have. E, exercise. We talked about that already. R, reading. Read something positive. Find books that fill your heart with good thoughts. And then the final S is scribing. That could also be known as journaling, writing. Start a practice of journaling or writing things down. Write down your thoughts. Write down the things that you're going through. Because what that does is it gets all that stuff out on paper. It doesn't cloud up your mind anymore. Now your mind is fresh and thinking new thoughts, right? You're kind of like dumping all the stuff from your brain onto paper. You don't have to think about it anymore. And then your mind is free to do other stuff and to focus on other things, and you're not as cluttered up there, right? I use a computer software called Simpleology, and one of the greatest things about that is that when I think of something to do that I have to do, I immediately put it into my phone in the Simpleology thing, right? Because then it automatically, and then it just goes away. I don't think about it anymore. But every day when I open up my account there, I have the list of all the things I put in there. And so now now there's so many things that I forgot about that I would have forgotten, but now I can address them. And I can be like, okay, that I can do today, that I can put off till tomorrow. This I don't ever have to do that. I'm just going to throw it away. And so like I can sort through all the things, the thoughts that I had, right? But it all starts with being able to put it in there and then forget about it, because I've got stuff going on right now. I've always got something, some project I'm working on, something like that. And if like this thought gremlin pops into my head and it's like, you got to do this, you got to do this, it can totally derail me. I can be like Ryan, derailment or whatever. What was the word?
I don't remember.
Derail something.
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, it's so helpful to be able to put that down. Now, you don't need Simpleology to do that. You can use Google Keep.
Derailementation.
Derailementation.
Was that it? I don't know. Sorry, go on.
There are all
I'm
kinds
derailing.
of different productivity apps out there, but just find a way to write down or put it in your phone or whatever. Put it there where you're going to be able to look at it later. So, but it just gets it out of your head so you can maintain your focus on what you're doing. And it's so helpful. So, for mental health, those are the things that I do.
Nice. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. One last thing, I guess, before I end this topic, boredom, for the most part, is an emotional response to a bad addiction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally
Not
makes
always,
sense, but
but
please explain. Because the only explanation I can think of doesn't make any sense.
Oh, okay. So if most people have trained themselves to spend all of their free time doing something, period, doing something fun, usually, or working really hard. And when they're not, they're kind of in an imbalance. They're like, well, now I'm doing nothing. I don't like doing nothing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So your brain calls that boredom. You're like, I need to be doing things. I don't want to be not doing something. And it's, if you've trained yourself to always look for fun whenever you're not doing something, you're going to feel that boredom as soon as you're not doing something fun. Some people feel bored when they're working because they're not having fun, right? Even when they're doing something, they're bored because they're not having fun. They're so used to fun. They're so used to that emotion that when they're not having it, they just say, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. It's a lack of tolerance for yourself, of yourself. So you kind of have to be bored for a while before you get used to it, before you realize boredom goes away when you stop your addiction to fun. Or whatever else you fill your time with that is your go-to, right? You just sometimes you just have to do away with your go-tos, like, because yeah. Now they do say what is it? When you don't have anything going on, it's the best time, or the most likely time that you sin. What's the line?
Idle minds and idle hands.
Yeah.
The Devil's Workshop.
Yeah, there you go. Idle mind, idle hand is a Devil's Workshop. That's what I was looking for. I mean, they do say that, right? And so that you're like, do, so I don't do something stupid. But I would say that when you're purposefully being idle, it's a little bit different because you're choosing that route for silence sake, for mental health sake. And so then you won't do bad things because it's not good for your mental health. Like, you're making that choice. So anyways, with that, I'm going to move on to the next topic. Thank you so much, Jeho. You're awesome. We appreciate you, and thanks for letting us talk on it. I mean, this is it's a good subject, and like I said, Joe has more information here on it than I do.
I like traffic lights.
I'm part of it for longer. Yeah, traffic lights are good. When the green man's on the scene, it means you can do the walking.
Girl hurt Birkin.
She crossed the street without green man on the scene. She was deed. She didn't get hit by a car or anything. She just died because the green man wasn't in the scene. and she tried to cross the road. Okay, anyways,
Boy says, I don't love you forever. I love you five ever.
that means he loves her more than forever. Lick this if you cry every time. All right. Sorry. Again, hopefully, someone will share a link with you to what that's all about. But let's move on to the next topic. It is from Sparrow. Sparrow's still with us, I hope. Yeah, they
It
posted
says,
not too long ago.
I love oatmeal cookies. Just said I love oatmeal cookies. I love oatmeal cookies too, as long as they're not wrecked with raisins.
Yeah, I like them anyway.
You
Arsenic
like
and
them? You
whatever.
probably
It's
like
all
them with
good.
raisins.
No, I like them with raisins. Yeah, definitely.
That's good. That's good for you. Somebody's got to eat the raisins.
I just randomly just gonna say honeycombs. You can put honeycombs in your. Why not? Probably be good.
Yeah.
Sounds like it would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Sparrow, what's up, man? We're gonna do yours. All right. Sweet. You're here. Perfect. So I accidentally clicked something and I had to I was like, what the heck? It just happened. What did I click on? How do I get out of here? I figured it out.
Ooh, the oatmeal ones with the cream inside. Oh, those are good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Nice. All right. So this is from Sparrow. It's titled How to Write Out Thoughts. It reads as follows. Sparrow is here. Long time no see, everyone. I do pop up in the chat sometimes, but I can't usually stay for very long. I feel like when I am writing, my thoughts are not coming out the way I vision. Please tell me what I can do. Sparrow is gone. All right. So Sparrow is here, still with us. He isn't actually gone. So, wait, you all right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just
I'm
heard you say, wow.
I'm excited for this topic.
Oh, good. So yeah, you're struggling wording things that you're trying to say, making sure they come out and the way that you want people to vision them is in their heads. Writing it out can be difficult. Speaking is another thing, right? Because with speaking, you have your voice inflections and your facial expressions to help really carry that through. But without those, when you just type, when you just write, how do you best carry out your vision, helping people see it the way you desire? I can talk a little bit about this. I'm not too bad at it. When I put a lot of effort in it, I'm not the best in the world. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Joe has to say and learning from him, because I know this is something I can improve in my own writing as well. So, Joe, please take it away.
That's a really good question. You know, I actually got a little bit of a firsthand education on how I do this, because I had to do a whole bunch of email correspondence with the printing company for the Criminal Idol book, and so there was all this emailing going back and forth because we were getting, you know, we sent our file and they had to send electronic proof, and then we had to order a hard copy proof, and then we had to revise our proof so they could send us a new one, and then we had to request pages. There's all kinds of stuff we had to do, right? It was all done by email, so it was all writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I am awful at writing words. Ryan is amazing at it, and if you guys get the Criminal Idol book, you will see the amazingness of Ryan's writing.
I think that's my worst work. So no, it's really awesome. Not because of I wrote it, but because of all the editing that went into it, and then all the pictures, and as well the whole stories that developed, not just because of me. Like, that is a really, really good book with a lot of awesome background detail and everything. Seriously, if you guys aren't getting the book, get the book.
Yeah,
when it comes out.
We'll have extras, you know.
Yep.
So don't worry, it will be for sale. So if you missed it on the Kickstarter campaign, it will be available. So, but it ended up being way more cool than we ever thought, you know. and it was a group effort of a lot of people that made
Hmm.
that happen. But it was really really cool. And but anyway, so that's neither here nor there. um, the point is the emails, right? That I was going back and forth, and so when I'm writing my thoughts, they are never ever coming out the way I envision it. And you know what? I use the backspace key so much. I'm writing and I backspace and I delete it and I think about it for a second and I write and I backspace again. And I write and I backspace again. Right? I just keep writing and I finally eventually I come up with something that's coherent and I can communicate the point and everything like that and make sure that I cover everything. One of the things that um it's really interesting. What can you do? I started understanding how to put words together when I started reading. This might sound really, really strange to some people, but okay. So I'm a Catholic. I became Catholic in 2017. So what, 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago. Just
Really?
almost to yeah.
Okay.
Um. So, but when I started listening to and reading the prayers that they say in mass, like during mass, like there are prayers that they say. And the interesting thing is like these have been worded. I mean, it's taken them a couple millennia where they've been crafting these prayers and formulating them, and they get them so they pack so much feeling and they pack so much content into just a few words. Like they make such great use of the words and the wording is just incredible. So like when I started to when I read through that and I was like, there is so much said in this one little phrase or this one little sentence. They've covered everything. And I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but prayers that exorcists say have to be that way. Because if you've read the book of Job, you realize demons do exist.
That's right.
And the way this is, okay, this is how the story goes, right? They're very legalistic, so they will look for loopholes in whatever anybody's trying to say, and they will exploit those loopholes. So any type of exorcism prayer has to be full and close all those loopholes. So every base has to be covered in these words that they're saying, right? And they do it in just very simple words. They just and when I started to understand that wordsmithing, I was like, that's very interesting. I'm still a novice at it. I still really stink at doing it. I have to like try like 3 or 4 times before I get it right. But it's helped me to learn that kind of stuff. So I know that's a weird, awkward thing to say, but that's that's kind of what helped me understand the power of putting words together in a way that's very effective. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Ryan because he's smarter than me when it comes to this.
I don't know
He
about that,
wrote
but
he wrote a whole book, so
oh wow. Um, technically, I could be the worst writer in the world that does that, but it's not okay. Well, until it's like sold and people like it. Anyways, yeah, actually, on the same breadth that Joe was speaking, um, I agree. There's so much you can learn from other people. If you read if you read poems, find the poems that stick out to you that you can relate to. Ones that are written in a tongue that feel good when you read them. That can help. And that comes to me, like Joe was saying, a lot of times through prayer. Um, I've learned some of my so there's something called rhetoric, and we talked about rhetoric not too long ago. But rhetoric is the art of speaking, and it can convert into your writing.
Mhm.
If you spend a lot of time speaking, trying to make things sound beautiful and sing and be well defined, if you spend a lot of time speaking that way, your writing will come out the same. If you spend a lot of time creating sentences such as that, your writing will come out the same way. So um, when I'm in prayer by myself, I may spend 30 minutes on one prayer trying to just figure out what's the best way to say this. How do I order how do I order the sentence, and what words do I pull in that are the most majestic and representative of the beauty I'm trying to bestow upon this prayer that I'm sending, right? I try to take time in making the prayer a sentiment of beauty so that my prayer itself represents God, who is beauty itself.
Mm.
It's taking from God what is the beauty of rhetoric, the beauty of spoken word, pulling and taking from all sorts of different artists and speakers that came before me, and all the different things that God has shown me in the world that I appreciate and that others appreciate, and using those words to create a sentence that becomes a prayer that becomes a message to God, right? And that's beauty. So, right, that's beauty. Now, getting across what you're trying to say is similar, because a lot of times what you're trying to do is you're trying to convey a message in a really nice way so that people get not just what you're trying to say, as in they understand it, but including the visuals, including the feeling, the touch, the smell, the taste, right? All of that, you want that in your message. So, what can you do? Um, like I said, read from others, experience what others do, and try to, in your own way, copy that. Um, Here is a short little snippet of the opening sequence of Project Glass. We're gonna call it that. Project Cloud Glass. It is a project I'm working on. And I'm not trying to bolster myself and my ability to write, because this is very simple. I'm going to say a few words and your brain is probably going to start to visualize things, right? And I hope, anyways, if I've done my job right, right? Um, and this is a playwright. So this isn't actually going to be a script people read. This is a script people like isn't a script the audience reads. This is a script that other people play out so that other people or so that other audience members can watch it unfold. But I write it this way so that the people who are going to do the art on the project, the people that are going to do the music on the project, the people that are going to voice act the project, they get the feeling of the scene, right? So that they understand visually what's going on, the tone, right? All of that kind of stuff. And so that's really important. So here's like one of my shots at it. All right. And you'll see what I do here, and you can replicate this. Basically, it's as simple as using similes, using things that call to mind visuals that one can remember. So here it says this. The scene opens, peering into a star-filled sky. Sound has yet to be made, but the occasional soft whispers of wind brushing brushing the grass like that of a comb through fine, well-kept hair. Um, so that's just it. That's it. I'm just gonna leave you with that for that. But So the wind is making occasional soft whispers like that of comb through a fine, well-kept hair. Um, and I'm sure you can all visualize. You've got the grass, and it has that shh kind of sound in it, right? It's almost like the wind is taking a comb and going through the grass, and it's not getting tangled or anything. It's very soft. It's subtle, right? It's just occasional. The grass kind of rubs against one another because that's what's creating the sound a lot of times. It's not the wind, but it's the grass actually making the sound. Just like when you comb hair, it's the combs against the hair that's making the sound. It's not the wind blowing through it. Wind blowing through hair makes almost no sound. But grass, as it brushes against each other, right, is making that sound, that kind of sound, right?
Mhm.
So when you write, you can incorporate that. You can incorporate just as I spoke it. The grass brushes against the grass to make that swishing sound. That helps people to visualize. Just adding a little bit here and there. Sure, it takes a little bit longer to read, but it adds in flavor that they don't have otherwise. If I was to say instead, other than the occasional soft whispers of wind, it's entirely different than talking about the grass and how the grass actually makes the sound that this noise is being produced from, right? It's the grassy wind sound, not the right? People can get the totally wrong idea if I stop my sentence short. So I go further to explain how it's more like the comb going through the hair or the comb through the grass. So hopefully that helps. That's an idea for you of how to make your sentences a little bit more lively, a little bit more um, visual when you write them. And that's it. I'm not a writer, so that's my best. I hope that helps. I hope I
You're
can.
pretty good at it.
I'm not gonna like teach a course on it, but
You
uh,
know, actually, I did come across an exercise at one point. This is a guy who teaches lyric writing at Berklee College of
mm,
Music, and he has his students do all these exercises, right, just to get their mindset into the writing mindset, and it goes right along with what Ryan was just explaining, where he'll have them set a timer for 10 minutes, right? So you only have 10 minutes and then you're done. So if this is torturous to you, you can rest assured in the fact that you only have to do it for 10 minutes and then you're done, right? But so you set a timer for 10 minutes and you pick a word, like a starting word. Yeah, just any word will do. Couch, snorkel, like wall, something, right? And so
I'm bear.
then, yep, whatever word you want.
Cool. It's not a word,
Squishmallow.
but I'll take it.
Yeah. So, but you pick a word, you start with that word, and you write what thoughts come to mind, unfiltered. You just write whatever comes to your mind, and you try and throw in as many sensational words that you can. Like when I say sensational, I mean pertaining to sense. So, touch, smell, taste, hearing, and the other one, sight. Yeah. And then different things like Ryan was talking about, and that I think Hyrule said personification. So like you're comparing stuff like he talked about grass being like hair, right? And different things like that. So you can throw in descriptive terms that are it just digs a little bit deeper. So when you think of hair like grass, you're thinking of how that might feel, you know and as Ryan was describing you know that scene, I was drawn there. Like I could not help but imagine being there. You know, I couldn't help but imagine, the darkness, and it's cool outside, and there's this breeze, and it's cool, and you can hear the grass doing the thing like he was talking about, swishing back and forth. And for me, for some reason, I it felt like things were damp. I don't know why, but that's you didn't even say anything about whether it
Sure.
was damp or
But
whatever,
yeah, yeah.
but my mind automatically went there because at night, it
Yeah.
usually is kind of damp, you know,
Mhm.
at least
Yep.
here in Michigan. Um,
And
but
Florida.
in Florida, yes, in
Yeah.
Florida, it's damp all the time in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Um, but at any rate,
Especially at night.
so but you say, and then you let your mind go wherever it goes, but you try the best you possibly can to be descriptive when it comes to the senses. And you go that route, and you just write for 10 minutes, and you let your mind go wherever. And so you might start with couch, but you'll go through, a street scene, and a mud puddle, and a boot, and a old lady that lives in a shoe, and a car crash. And you'll go through all these different thoughts because your mind is hopping from different things. But the whole way, no matter what it is you're writing about, you're putting words in that are descriptive with sense in mind. And when you do that, that was his basis for writing lyrics. Because when you're writing lyrics to a song, what you're trying to convey is feelings. It used to be that songs told a story. They don't do that so much anymore.
Yeah.
Songs don't generally tell a story as much. I mean, Ryan's songs do. The Criminal Idol, he packed in a whole mystery about a bombing in an album. Like this, and a whole story in there and the videos that came about, and all these little tiny clues that I did not pick up on at all because I was just listening to the music. I was just like, and I wasn't hardly listening to the words usually because I'm an instrumental musician at heart. Like, so I'm listening to his instrumentation, his production
Same.
level, and I'm just like, man, this is incredible. And like then I'm like reading people's comments. I'm like, what? Where are they getting all that stuff? And then I start like actually listening into the lyrics and paying attention, and then paying attention to the art. And I'm like, ah, I see where they're going now. And then when I actually got to work on the book, and read what Ryan had wrote, then it all made sense to me, kind of. But like words are so difficult for me that I had to do those exercises, right? So that's one thing to do. You can do exercises, set timer for 10 minutes and do that. Another thing is journaling. One of the savers, the last S, scribing. If you just take time and write every day, just write your thoughts down every day. How long do you think it'll take before you actually get to be a good writer? I don't know. A lot less time than if you didn't ever write anything,
That's true. That's to be sure.
And like Joe and I, when we were talking about when we started Double Cup of Joe show, we were like, hey, we're gonna do this show, and we're gonna do it every day. And we're not going to pay any attention to any results or whatever that we're getting. We're not going to watch our analytics. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything for at least 6 months. We're just going to do the show. Because we might not get any major result out of, the first however long. We might do the show for a few years before anything happens. Who knows? That's not the point of the show. The point of the show is to be with you guys, to hang out with you. Tef, you're there regularly. Tara, I think I saw you there today. Hi, Hyrule. I know Jehoshaphat, I've seen you in there. Bunch of you guys. We just want to have more time to spend with you guys, and that's like the main reason we were doing it. And then it was like, hey, if we do this every day, I bet you will get good at doing YouTube streams. What do you think? It's like the Beatles. You guys know the story of the Beatles. You guys know there was a band called the Beatles. way back when. They were like hugely famous. They redefined the way music is produced. They redefined how it's arranged. They did a whole bunch of stuff. Like they were very, very pivotal in how music is created, right? Huge, one of the biggest bands ever in history. And what made them was when they played in Hamburg, Germany, every day in obscurity to this little tiny bar, where hardly anybody was, and they just play. They just play for hours and hours and hours in there to hardly anyone, to very, very small audience. And then what happened in that time, because they were doing it all the time, all the time, all the time, all of a sudden they started to define their sound. They started to really lock in together with what they were going to be doing. And then they exploded on the world scene because they were ready. And I bet you it's the same with writing. I bet you if you did it every day, you don't have to do it for hours and hours. But just take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Who knows? But consistency over time, and you will get good at it. You will start to create wordsmithery like you never thought you could. It's the same with anything. So that people tell me with musicianship and stuff like that. I had a friend one time who he was hearing me play guitar, and I was a percussionist in band, and he had heard me, and he was at solo ensemble with me, and he watched me and everything, and then I was playing a song on the guitar and everything, and he just looked at me and he said, "Man, you are a really good player. I don't know how you did that." And I told him, I was just like, it's really, really simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. I just played every day. I didn't play every day for hours and hours and hours. Now, sometimes if I was preparing for something big, then I'd play for hours and hours and hours every day. Like when I was a senior in high school and I was preparing for all my, auditions for colleges and stuff like that, I was practicing for hours and hours and hours every day. But you don't have to do that. But if you consistently practice anything, you will get good at it. And I believe writing would be no exception to that. So that's it. Ryan?
All right. Well, it looks like Sparrow just had to leave right at the end of that. So all good, Sparrow. Have a good one. See you later. We're about to shut the store or the wow. What? Show down. That's the word I was looking for. We're about to shut the show down.
Cats love salt.
Tassel of salt.
Cats love salt.
Oh, cats love salt. Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently they can't taste sweet things, but they like salt. That's why they lick us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, I am a cat lover, and I love to
love to cat. Sorry, I can't stay thinking about cats again. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here with us. We love you. We appreciate you all so much for stopping by, for being a part of the show, for helping out in the chat. All the funny things you guys say that make us smile or derail, all of it is good and appreciated. Yes. We love you guys. And this show would not be here without you. Of course, you know that. So, right. Anyways, with that, I have to give a thanks to Joe for being here today with his great wisdom and living his life to have it. Also, thank you, Princess, for working the chat and working the behind the scenes, and Jesse as well. So, yeah, thank you guys. You guys are amazing. And I guess there's nothing left to say. See you guys
come back in the morning.
Friday, and also come in the morning for a double cup of Joe.
Tomorrow morning in like
tomorrow
8 hours.
Morning. Okay, perfect. In 8 hours.
8 hours from now, we'll be here.
You guys can get a full rest, wake up, and do a double cup of Joe. All of you.
Yep, I can get a whole
if
4
you want
hours. I want.
Yeah. Well, all right. Have a wonderful rest of your life, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Peace.